we have a live masterclass by Srijita Srivastava. Along with her, we have beautiful like 20 students here who will be part of this class, and they have graciously agreed us to let us into their classroom. Srijita is a transformational teaching fellow with a strong passion for literacy. She is a fellow literacy lead for TFI Ahmedabad. She is passionate about improved education and healthcare and has collaborated with IMA to empower change from ground up. We have this lesson for 30 minutes, and then the last 15 minutes will be debriefed by Emma. So she works with Teach for India. We're very, very excited to have you, Emma, Sri, and all the beautiful students here. Over to you for the next 45 minutes.
Great, thank you for that. All right, kids. Hi, good evening. Welcome to your English class. We are quickly going to take 10 seconds. You can type in the chat box how you're feeling. And get ready, settle down, get your textbooks, your notebooks, your pen and pencils ready. I'll do a quick countdown from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm so happy to see that all of my kids are feeling very excited. All right, guys, great. Let's start with our class then. Can Angel come off mute and read out our norms for us?
Our norms for the day. Number 1, engagement, being active in chat box. Number 2, teamwork, participating in breakout room discussions and helping each other. And the last, third one, making connections, connecting today's lessons with ourselves and our lives.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Angel. So guys, we have 3 norms for our days, right? Teamwork, helping each other, being very active in the chat box, and then making very active connections to every single thing that we are learning here. All right, let's move on to our next slide. First, before we start with anything with our objective, let us do a very quick activity, right? Ria, can you read out the slide for us?
So tell a story. First, take 30 seconds to think about a bedtime story, folktale that you heard from your relatives, grandma, grandpa, mother, father, etc. Second, what was the story about? What did it teach you? Third, share in the chat box or raise your hand if you would like to come mute and share.
Great, thank you for that, Ria. So guys, we're going to take 30 seconds. Think about any story, right, that you've heard in your families. It could have been told by any of your relatives. And you can type in the chat box. I can already see Satnam type something. And if you want to come off mute and share with all of us, you can just raise your hand for that as well. Right? Take 30 seconds, think. And also think about what were you learning from that story. I see that Juhi wants to come and share. Juhi, can you quickly share with us what was the story and what did you learn?
The story is a mother and his child, and the child do robbery, and so when he goes to jail, so his mother say, why do you did that? So he said, you do not give me a proper learning. So the moral is that what we learn, what we do is we learn.
That is a great moral, right, Juhi? What we learn is what we do. That's a very strong moral to take away. And I can see Ajay, Angel, and Satnam typing in the chat box, having lessons like do not be jealous, teamwork is the best, and that something that is going to happen will happen anyhow. I'm happy to see that you all are recalling those stories, right? We'll keep on making connections to our own selves today in this lesson. So we'll keep on actively going back to, okay, what do I know about this? Moving from that, let's come to our objective. We will be able to identify the theme of the text by making connections. Now, what does this theme of the text and making connections mean? Let's look at that. Can I ask Chitra to read out the theme of the text and making connections definitions for us?
The underlining message lesson from the text. Second, it is a lesson that can be applied to other situations. Making connections. Connecting the text to our opinion and experiences, our knowledge of world, other texts.
Great. Thank you for that, Chitra. Right, guys. So, like Chitra said, theme of the text and like what Juhi just shared, right? That we do what we learn, that lesson that you take away from a story, that message, right? That lesson that I'm learning, that big message of a story is what is called the theme of the text. What Juhi just shared is exactly what we will go deeper into today. And making connections, right? Whatever am I reading, can I connect it back to myself, the world that I know around me, or any of the other stories that I've read, right? That's what we are going to do today. Thank you for that, Chitra. All right, let's identify the theme. Let's quickly get into it. I have a very small passage here, right? What I want you to do is read this, do three lines. There are three options which are given here as well. All three of them are themes, right? What we just talked about, themes like this big lesson that you take away. Tell me which one do you think matches with this and why. Again, if you want to come off mute and share with all of us, you can raise your hands or you can just type in the chat box. Until then, can I ask Varun to read out these 2-3 lines for us, Varun?
Okay. This story is about an honest and hardworking old couple. Their pet dog, the neighbor, troublesome, and the dog disease a sad death. The sprint of the dog gives solace and support to his master in unexpected way. Very down one even that option.
Yes, of course, sure.
Option one. Option one, kindness and connectedness are always requiring.
Yes.
And option two, people can change very fast. Option three, things are not always as they appear.
Great. Thank you for that, Varun. So, guys, Varun just read out this little text for us, right? Saying that the story is about an honest and hardworking old couple and their pet dog. Their neighbors are, I'm sorry, troublesome, and the dog dies a very sad death. The spirit of the dog gives solace and supports to his master in unexpected ways. And then I've given you the options down. I can see Himanshu is texting me that he thinks that option one is the correct one. Himanshu, do you want to maybe come off mute and share with us why are you choosing option one?
Didi,
Yes.
I think option one is because the old man was very kind.
And can you
So
tell
he
me?
gave some
Yes.
food.
Continue, Himanshu. All right. Okay. I think Himanshu went on mute. Himanshu, can you hear us? Okay. I'll wait for Himanshu to type his response in the chat box. Till then, can I ask Arpita to come off mute and share?
Yes, Didi. So I think the option one is the correct answer of the paragraph, because in the previous paragraph only we read that the dog and the old couple have the very good connection and they love each other so truly. And when we love someone that much, so whatever can happen.
Whatever can happen in good ways or in bad ways?
Good ways, good ways.
In good ways. So that's what you're talking about, the reward. Yeah.
Yes.
And Arpita, I'll also push you here a little bit. Can you tell me what evidence did you find as a which line or which word did you find in these 2-3 lines which made you think that option one is what you want to go for?
The first one, Didi, because this is a story about an honest and hardworking own couple and their pet dog. This first line tell me that.
Okay, so the first line tells you that there is kindness and connectedness there.
Yes.
All right, great. Guys, remember and see how Arpita just pulled out a little bit of an evidence, right? She's choosing option one and then she's telling why she's choosing option one and what is the evidence within the paragraph that she's basing this on. All right, with that, let's do this a little bit more. There are 2 passages on your screen. You can take 1 minute. Again, read passage 1, go through the 3 options, read passage 2, go through the 3 options, and share which one and why, right? We will look for our evidences. We will look for why am I saying that this is the right answer. And as always, if you want to share with all of us, you can raise your hand. I will give you all a minute to read and formulate your thoughts. I can see that Ajay has already started typing in the chat box. Option 2, because money is the thing that can change anyone. Ajay, do you want to come off mute and tell us a little bit more about it? Why do you think money is the thing that can change anyone? I think Ajay is having some issues. No problem. We'll wait for Ajay to come back, or if anyone else wants to come off mute and share with us. Ishita also says option 2. Option 2 for passage A or passage B? Chanchal says third. Satnam says option 2. Chanchal, do you want to tell why are you choosing option 3?
I'm choosing option 3 because uh, uh, in this paragraph it's telling that from a tree the old man chopped and make a hammer of wood. So these lines tell me that these things can change their shape fast.
I like that, right? I like how you're able to pull out that that evidence. I want to push you a little bit here more and think that did it happen fast or did it happen slowly? The wood changed its shape. Yeah. I think you went on mute. You can unmute yourself, bache. All right, not in problem. I see all of us are a little bit nervous as well. No issues, guys. Does Satnam want to come off mute and share?
Didi, I choose option 2 because in the text is written that the older man chopped the tree and with a great labor, partially by fire, partially by chisel, carved out a hollow place as big as the small bowl. So he did a lot of hard work. Then he created wonderful tools like a small bowl and long handle armor of wood. So I think that.
Great. That's a very good observation, Satnam. Thank you for that. Guys, anyone who wants to build on Satnam's idea or has a different opinion, I can see that Dhruvi wants to share. Dhruvi, do you want to build off or have a different opinion than Satnam? All right, Ishita, of course.
Yeah, so according to me, the option is 2 of passage A because according to me, hard working is the best kind of work that creates different wonderful things. Like for an example, they worked hard and the trees bloom into many beautiful flowers.
I see. All right. Thank you for that, Ishita. And guys, if you see that Ishita is already making connections to other events that are there in our storyboard, that tree blooming into flowers, right? That's the last event that happens. And I like how Ishita is just making connection to text right now. She just took this paragraph and connected it back to the story itself. That was a wonderful text to self connection, Ishita. Thank you for that. Anyone who has any ideas about the passage B, guys? So we have spent some time on passage A, and look at how all of you are looking at the themes differently, right? You all are having different answers for it and different connections and different opinions for it. Yes, Dhruvi, you want to share, bache?
So in passage B, I think option second is correct because the old couple put boiled rice with some beans and it turns into gold, and the another neighbors kept this pastry and sauce and it turned into the worms. They both did the same but they get different result.
Why do you think they got different results, Dhruvi?
Because The old couple were very kind and they loved their dog, and the neighbors always hit the dog and scold to them.
All right, that was great, Dhruvi. I know that Dhruvi had some connection problems, so I will quickly recap what Dhruvi said. Right, Dhruvi said that she goes with option two, and the difference was that the old couple was very kind; they were very caring for their pet dog as well, versus the neighbors were just mean and greedy, and they wanted to even force the dog to find treasure for them. Right, so see how Dhruvi is pulling out again text to text connection. She is going to the before event that has already happened, what you already know from your storyboard, and she's connecting it to that, right? So I can see very good connections coming alive, guys. That is great, my champions. All right, so now for now, Didi was giving you some options, and then you were picking out some themes from that, right? Let's try to now write a theme by ourselves. Okay, so what we're going to do is, before we go into that, I'm going to give you all 1 minute. Please open up your storyboards that all of you have made, and take 1 minute to revise it, and especially focus on event 3, because that's the event that we will be focusing on to pull the theme out of the event 3. All right, great, thank you. And you all can just type done or give Didi a thumbs up once you are done. You still have time left. Thank you, Chitra. Thank you, Satnam. Thank you, Chanchal. Thank you, Arpita, Avni, Anu. Wow, that is brilliant. My champions are doing it very, very fast. Great, guys. All right. So now that we have revised it, okay, what we're going to do is, who can read out the options for us? Can Avni please read out our slide for us?
You will be working in group of 3-4 members to show collaboration and teamwork. Second, you will have 8 minutes in the breakout room to uncover the theme.
Great. Thank you for that, Avni. So guys, you have 8 minutes, right? And you will be working in groups of 3 to 4. Can all of you quickly take a screenshot of this? This is the passage from event 3 that we will be working with. And then below are the guiding questions. And the main focus will be on question number 4. All right, guys, we are just making the breakout room. I can see my champions are already done taking the screenshot. Okay, so you will have 8 minutes, and remember, focus is on the fourth one, right? What is the final message, or what is the theme that we are able to pull out from this? Okay, I'm just waiting for the breakout rooms to start. Till then, I want you all, जब तक हम लोग we are going in the breakout rooms, I want you all to quickly be reading through this passage, so that even if we get a little bit smaller time in the breakout room, right, we're able to use that properly. All right, guys. So breakout rooms are opened, And the ones who are here in this breakout room with Didi today are Ria, Dhruvi, Anu, Charmi, and Sakshi. All right. Okay. Any one of you can start. Didi is just going to stay here and just watch.
Okay, guys, let's read this passage in 2 minutes and then we will start the discussions.
I can remind you all once the 2 minutes are over.
Guys, is everyone done?
You have reading time left, but if you are done, I will urge you that you start discussing so that you can go deeper and deeper into the questions.
Okay, let's start discussing. So, who can tell the first answer? Okay, so I will start the first answer. So the answer of the question is who was involved. So I think the old man, then their greedy neighbors, and the Lord. Yeah, I think these three were the involved in this situations. Okay, so who can come up mute and tell the second answer?
Hi, Sakshi. Can you hear us?
Yeah, Didi.
Great. Could you hear Ria Bache?
Yeah.
Awesome. So Ria just covered the question 1. Do you want to put your opinions for the question 2?
Yeah, Didi.
Okay, Sakshi, I covered the first question. Now, can you please tell answer of second number?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
So the
think
problem was that the neighbor also took the ash and then he spread it on the tree. But landlord wife and landlord was coughing and sneezing. So the landlord's guard killed them.
Okay. Dhruvi?
guys, just a reminder, you have 3 minutes left. So I will urge you to go a little bit faster. I know that you talked about who is involved. You've talked about what was the bigger problem that happened here. Now, Dhruvi, can you try to club the third and the fourth together and then present your opinions? If you can hear us. Otherwise, Sakshi or Ria, either one of you can go ahead.
Yeah, Di.
Dhruvi, please do it quicker.
I do think that Dhruvi is having some network issues. So for
Me
that,
in the
go ahead, Ria.
Okay. What was the end result? That is this happened. The end result was that
the neighbor
Yes, Dhruvi, we can hear you, Bacha. Go ahead.
when the neighbor
Dhruvi, can you try turning your video off? Maybe that will help. Till then, Varun, are you here? Can you hear us? Then you can come and participate in our group discussion. All right. Okay, Juhi is also. Okay, we seem to have run out of time, which is fine. All right.
In the end,
Okay, I will just wait for everyone to come back. Right? Till then, Ria, can you just think for yourself and Sakshi for yourself as well? And then when you hear others' responses, right, I want you to write your own responses down as well so that you know what your opinions were, even though we couldn't discuss them very properly. All right. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, guys, welcome back from your quick breakout room. I am going to just wait for everyone to come back. All right. Thank you. Okay, so okay, all of my kids are back. My kids are back. Still, okay, they are still coming. We have 30 seconds till then, guys. Consolidate because Didi is going to do a little bit of a cold call. So you can be called upon on just to share what your group thought, right? Any one of the group members can come off mute. I'll just call out a couple of names of the people who can come out. All right. 20 more seconds to go. I can see Juhi has already raised her hand. Juhi might want to share. Okay. So anyone between, okay, all of my kids are back. Great. Anyone between Satnam, Ria, Ajay, Juhi, any one of you wants to go off mute and share what theme was your group able to pull out of this text?
Didi,
Yes, Satnam.
our group had pulled the team that don't be greedy and some actions result in different ways with different intentions. How? Because in this paragraph, don't be greedy is that the jealous neighbors saw that the old man sprinkling ash on the trees that they bloomed. So the daimyo, the landlord, gave him gifts. So the jealous neighbors were jealous of him. So the jealous neighbor also uh, sprinkled ash on the tree, but it resulted in nothing. So the wind blew that ash and in the noses and eyes of daimyo. So it spoiled everything. And some actions result in different intentions because the jealous neighbors had different intentions. They were very jealous and greedy. They only wanted the gifts. So their action result in different ways as the old man's.
All right, that was a brilliant summary that Satnam just pulled out. Guys, I also want to pull your focus a little bit on how Satnam rooted his answer in so many evidences, right? Every single thing that he said had his opinion and then also had a evidence from the passage saying this is what happened in the story and then this is what I think and then this is the connection that I'm making with the entire story, saying that previously also they tried to do the same thing but got different answers, right? So look at how Satnam did all the three things, and I want you to look back at your answers in your group and see if you had all of those three things in your answers, right? If you had your opinions, if you had evidences from the text, and if you had some of the other connections also that you made while pulling out the theme. All right, thank you for that answer, Satnam. Now, I will close out this lesson for here now. You have 30 seconds. Look at all of these values that we show as leaders every day. And can you please share in the chat box? And a couple of you can raise your hand, come off mute. Which value were you able to show today and how? Can Arpita please share with us? Arpita, which value did you show and how?
so Didi, I showed the communication and the critical thinking.
Yes.
So I showed this in the breakout room mainly. We talk with each other, we listen everyone, and the critical thinking because we get the answers from out of the box only. So we all showed the critical thinking.
That is brilliant. All right. And lastly, I will also ask who is left? Someone who has not spoken till now, right? Someone who didn't get. Charmi, do you want to talk to us about which value did you show and how?
Yes, I show the collaboration by discussing with Chitra answers in
Very good.
breakout room.
That is great. Thank you for that, Charminet. Thank you for pointing out your actions so brilliantly. All right, guys. And I can also see others texting me privately and on the chat box about which value are we showing and how. I like it how you are able to point out actions, that are pointing out your values. All right. Now I will leave you all with one thinking question saying, how the story ends. But if you could change the ending of the story, right? How will it end up impacting the theme? We discovered like the theme of the story. If I change the ending of the story, what if the neighbor does not die? What would you do with the story? What ending would you write, and how would it change it? And you have to share that with your groups, within your groups, during your peer learning time, and we will explore further on this question in our tomorrow's class. And I leave you with this. I leave you with your word of the day, which is indigenous. I look forward to seeing you all use this word in the Darbar today, guys. Yeah, thank you very much for coming and being a part of the class. I look forward to us discussing our question tomorrow about what different ending would you do and how will it change the theme. That's the question that I have for you today. And I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Didi.
Bye, dear.
Bye, Didi.
Bye.
Bye-bye, guys. The class was fantabulous. Thank you for that, Chitra. Bye, Dhruvi.
So as our students drop off from their class, I'd love to invite our audience to share some gratitude to Shri and her students for giving us a peek into their classroom today. So if you'd like to share any gratitude, please just add in the chat box on your link, and we'll make sure that Shri and her students get some of those wishes from all of you. Shri, I think you could stop screen sharing,
Yeah,
maybe.
Good to go.
Right. So Shri, thank you so much for giving us a peek into your virtual classroom today. I'd love to start, like, your objective today, or the purpose of your lesson today was for your students to be able to identify the theme or the underlying message of the story. And I just wanted you to share a little bit as to what kind of outcomes were you looking for from this lesson? Like, what were you looking for your students to do?
So today I think the entire lesson was just rooted on I wanted them to be able to look at a text, right, and then add their own opinions to it and try to understand what does the text mean for them, right? What message does it pull out for them? Like we saw that the kids were, even when we have 3 options, they were interconnected, and kids had different reasons for choosing out those themes, and that was the intended outcome, saying that are the children able to read a paragraph, read a body of text, and then figure out what does it mean for me? How am I interpreting it? How am I analyzing it?
Yes. And it was a really interesting choice of text. This is the story that the students are working on right now. Is a Japanese folk tale, right? So these folk stories are stories that are passed down generation to generation, and they are stories to guide and shape the way that we think. Like, can you share a little bit about like how you saw this lesson connecting to your bigger vision for your work with your students? Like, what are you seeing yourself working towards in the longer run with your students?
So since I teach literacy normally, my goal is, and my vision is, not just to make my kids, have ownership, but rather for them to have leadership. And when I say leadership, I mean conscious, collaborative, empathetic, critical thinkers, right? That's what I'm pushing towards. So every single class is about, okay, how do I take a normal NCRT grade text, right? And then how do I pull it out of just the textbook, and then how do I bring it alive in their own classrooms? So today was, about them developing their consciousness, their own critical thinking, understanding various perspectives, being able to respect that. So that's what this lesson was building towards. And following tomorrow, like you already saw, I left them with a thinking question, so that it just builds more and more. Okay, what would I do with it? Why would I do it? What is it teaching me? What is it telling me about my own perspective? Just to build that consciousness.
Yeah, and I'm sure you were a little nervous today, but as you're engaging with the with your students and listening to the kind of responses, like what did you see your students say or hear your students say today that helped you to know like how much progress they were making towards being able to like draw connections, being able to pull out theme? Like what did you hear them say and do?
Yeah, so since this is a folk tale, right? Normally folk tales have a very strong moral message, and even this entire folk tale has a very good, strong, like bad versus good theme. But then when Satnam and Himanshu were particularly sharing that same actions are giving different results, right? And they were making connections saying that, oh, this happened before in the story, because they already have a storyboard, they've read the story, they understand the basic level of it. Today was just like, diving deeper into the story itself. So just them being able to draw that connection, saying that, oh, I can do the very same action and have very different results because of the intentions or the purpose that I'm doing them with. That's what makes me think that they are moving towards, being able to pull out those nuanced, greater connections with the text.
Yeah, and I thought the activities were really interestingly layered, right? So first from spotting themes and stories they know, to then matching themes within the story, to then being able to start to pull out a theme. One of the things I've been thinking a little bit about, it was so nice to see like your students' excitement to share. There was like people inviting in the chat, there's people coming off mute very quickly. Like it's a big shift from an in-person classroom to a virtual classroom. Like what are some of the structures that you and your students have at a daily level and at a weekly level that are supporting some of the engagement with learning?
So in a nutshell, how I think about these online classes in Zoom is that it's not that, oh, when my kids come online with Didi, that's when their learning will happen. But it's more like, what offline spaces can I create for them so that when they do happen to come online with Didi, that's the most effective use that we can possibly make, right? So we have peer learning circles, we have darbar times, they have their doubt solving times, and then it's a very simple thing. The before me is something that we still follow as a team. So the kids have a lot of peer-to-peer learning structures set within their proposed timetable that we have given them. So it's very normal for them to interact with each other, to talk about, okay, what did we learn today? How was class today? What doubts do you have left? And what that does is that engagement doesn't stop. It doesn't feel like I only go to a 40-minute class in the day. It feels like I go at 40 minutes and I dive so much deeper, and then I just keep on processing it the other day till I can go again and then dive deep in.
And now that you've done this lesson today with your students, like, is there anything you would have done differently or changed? And why would you make some of those changes?
I think possibly I would change. So I gave them this like this little paragraph from the event 3 itself, right? And I could see that because kids had like a basic comprehension done of it, they were making very solid text to text connections straightforward, like without even me pushing it. I think I would have changed the text a little bit more and added a little bit of twist right here, saying that I know you read that text, but this is a little bit of twisted ending right here. How do you think now this fits into the theme or does not fit into the theme? So I could that compare and contrast the class as well.
It was interesting for me to see, like, compared to earlier, like a few days ago when we observed and saw students being able to, they were able to describe events a few days ago, and they were able to make self-to-text connections. They were able to make inferences of how they might feel in a situation, but they were struggling, right, to pull out those themes. Yeah. And I think it was really interesting. That layering, I think, really helped them to start to pull out some of those underlying themes as well. It was interesting to see. So as you shared, you really care a lot about building leadership with your students and seeing your reading lessons as a way of doing that. What will your students be doing as they move ahead with this text or this objective that you're working on?
So I've already started this ideation process of tomorrow's writing lesson today. So they will be ideating all of that, right? Thinking that, okay, what's the difference? And then tomorrow will be like a writing integrated class where it's another level, like another scaffold of theme itself, right? So I've spotted themes. I've tried to write down a theme by myself. I've connected themes into a bigger chapter. Now, can I try to change the plot and see its effect on the theme? And then I see it culminating like as a little bit of reflection slash debrief slash LC sort of a space where the kids just go towards, okay, what theme did I identify and why? Why am I as an individual identifying this theme more, or why am I inclined towards this more? Because right now is when the kids have a very strong sense of black and white. So just being able to make them cognizant of that, right? So okay, I read a folk tale, but from that I learned about how do I see text, how do I see morals, how do I see good and bad, what is good for me, what is bad for me. So I see this culminating something towards that and building consciousness towards that.
Something that just struck me actually, Shri, I was just thinking about like one of the challenges that I was seeing in the breakout rooms is how do you keep track of what each student is learning? We heard like different students sharing, but how do you keep track of like to what extent has each student really been able to pull out these themes? We heard Satyam share, we heard a couple of other students share, but how do we know if everybody's shared, and how do you think about that?
So it's a very small and consistent practice that we do that builds up over time. Is that after the class there's a Google form which is floated, right, which has a very basic questions to check for the mastery, so that the teacher also gets a quick pulse check saying that okay, how effective was my class. And in the end it's always there, attach a photo of your breakout room discussion. So they always write and they always make notes of whatever they write, and then they attach that photo, and they know that they have to attach that photo. So even if once a kid is not participating, they're like, she's going to ask for it, I'm going to have to do it, so I might as well just use my 8 minutes and do it. And when they do that, you get a very quick pulse check of your mastery, and you also have all of your student responses. And as a teacher, you slowly develop, right? You know that okay, I heard this child, so I know that they are set, but I'm not so sure about what this child did. I was not able to interact with them, so then I will particularly go through their form and see if they were able to pull out proper strands.
Shri, that brings us to the end of our time together. It seemed to go very fast, no? As we bring our masterclass today to a close, I'd love to invite our audience to share in the chat box any strategy or insight that you're taking away for yourself and for your work. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, guys.